Sorry. So thank you very much, Diego, for being here. And we still have to work on your scholarship essays. So with us, so there's Diego, there's Daniela, of course. She will always be here. There is Xenia. Can you help me? And who else is coming?
We have Luz, we have Diego, and we have Daniela. And probably August will join. Let's got some problem.
Luis
is here as well.
Luz.
Augusto. Where's Augusto? Got accepted to INSEAD.
Yeah, he probably will join us for 10 minutes. Augusto.
Diego, no, Xenia, Luz, okay, Maria, Punet, I know, of course, all these people. So, but I think that some of you have already met Daniela because she gave a seminar before that. So Diego, because basically Diego is interesting, okay, because he's at the junction, okay, he's making the bridge between the two worlds because Diego got accepted both to Kellogg and IESE, okay. Basically, Diego, can you tell us more about your background, please?
Sure, and nice to meet everybody. Hi, Hubert. Hi, Mariano. It's really a pleasure to help anybody who's interested on this school. So, I'm 30 years old. I work at a BCP. That's the largest bank in Peru, in South America. I have been working on positions of analytics, consulting strategy, and data-driven marketing focused on the retail banking. That's my passion. And after MBA, I want to work at a product management position of the same industry, but ideally in the abroad, right, in the US or Europe. I'm still deciding to which school I should go. It's a fun fact, actually. Last year, I only applied and was accepted to Kellogg. I had to postpone it due to very, very personal reasons. And this time, I was accepted again. Thanks, Hubert. Thanks, Marianne, of course, for that. And well, I'm still deciding. So that's a summary of my background. I don't know if you want to know any specific topic.
You want to know more. And of course, Mariano hesitates between the two schools because he got a scholarship at IESE and he's still expecting a scholarship at Kellogg. It's true. And me, I was myself in the same situation as you. Okay? I didn't do an MBA, but I got accepted in some with scholarship and no scholarship, and then decided to do a PhD. But what I remember is that you get accepted, you're very excited, and then you say, but how am I going to pay all that? It's really a story. Especially me, I was very young, I was 22 years old, but you're already 30 years old, you're established in life, you're used to having a salary. Me, I was used to being a student, having little money. So at the same time, you have to go to see the embassy, show that you have the funds, and if you don't have the funds, they don't give you the visa. As simple as that. So basically, why US and why Europe? Usually, our students in Peru, they take US or Europe. They choose one of the two. Why are you hesitating between these two continents?
Well, I actually don't have a specific preference for either continent. I'm just interested in working abroad at a product management position at a large financial corporation on the fintech arm. And after 5 years coming back to Peru, I think that the main difference between these places is the fact that it is quite harder to stay in Europe because of visa issues. Not many companies sponsor students to stay in Europe, except from very large investment banks and consulting companies and so on. On the other hand, it is a little bit easier to get a job after the MBA in the US if you study there. So I think that is an important issue to take in consideration. And again, I focused more on the quality of the schools rather than on the specific continent. But of course, if you think it is an important issue for you specifically, I totally support that. It just was not my case.
Yes, so basically, yes. So it's interesting to talk with Diego because, of course, but you have the choice today, US or Europe, okay? Probably, so how can you make the difference between the two? So me, I'm French, but I live in the US, so I know the difference between the two. So probably That's what Mariano said. So probably post MBA, you have more opportunities and probably greater expectations in the US than in the UK or in Europe in general. It's true. Now you have to see long term in terms of quality of life. Okay, you have to also consider that many of you, you have a Spanish name, a Spanish family name. Many of you have also US, European roots that may allow you to stay there. Is it your case? You have a double nationality, Diego? You have a Spanish nationality? You don't have?
No, I don't have a visa for Europe. That's definitely an issue, but still, yes, it's an excellent school. And I think that if I tried hard, I could get a sponsorship somewhere, ideally in Spain.
Okay, yes, probably you can stay, but of course, Spain is an incredible country to live in, probably the same as Peru. But of course, the economy of Spain is not the economy of New York or of California, for sure. So you get something else. Okay. So what did you find most difficult in the process, Diego?
Well, I think that definitely the single and most important issue for any applicant, well, definitely it's not the GMAT, I can assure you that, but it is the fact of telling a fluent, inspirational, but at the same time realistic story. I mean, you must convince the admission officers that your past makes sense with what you want to do in the future, and that what you want to do in the future is going to have a large concrete impact, not only on yourself, but most importantly on others in society, in your country, and so on. I think that's what makes the real difference in any application, because as mentioned, I've seen very, very good students with extremely competitive GMAT scores not being accepted, while others with quite lower, I mean, I don't know, below 660, below 700, whatever, it's still very good scores, but I mean, not a 760, 770 being accepted, and some of them with very large scholarships in extremely good schools. So I encourage you to have a clear north, inspirational one, ambitious one, and that makes sense with your background. That's the deal breaker, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's probably it. So basically, the first hurdle I would say is the GMAT. It's an essential one. Second one, of course, to have a convincing application. Okay, and last one, financing. Okay, and it's a hurdle for everybody, especially when you come from a country with, and don't take it bad, but with weak currency like Peru, and where tell me, between now and the time you have applied, and between the time we studied your application and now, how much has the Peruvian currency lost to the dollar? How much?
No, a lot. That's true. I don't know if there are any Peruvians here, but if so, I'm sure that they will understand me, because of the political turbulence that we're going through in Latin America. Our currency, the sol, is being devaluated, losing value. I think that at least 20% in the past 6 months. So that is definitely an issue to consider. Yes.
I can imagine. So Daniela, she knows better because she works for the Bank of Peru. How much, Daniela? Yeah, easily 20%. So can you imagine? So you increase, Daniela? I don't know. So you increase the price by 20%. Can you imagine? It's already very expensive, and you have increased the price of the MBA by 20%, and probably by the time you start in August by another 10%. Okay, so it's huge. Okay, and I can understand how difficult it is. Even for us in Europe, the euro has lost something like 5% to the dollar, 5 or 6%, which is, when you consider the price of an MBA, something. Okay, that's not a little thing. So you had basically 12,000 euros to the cost. Okay, so it's another 12,000 euros to find. Okay. Well, we're going to ask you the question now. So a solution to that. So Luz Figueroa will come. So Luz, Luz, Diego, You know, I don't know if you. So Luz.
No, I don't know her.
I know.
Nice
I know
to meet you, Luz.
because it's a small world. So Luz, can you come? Luz. Hello, Luz. Hello.
Hello,
Nice to see
everybody.
you, Luz. Nice to see you. So basically, give us your background, and then you will tell us also the difficulties and how you have managed to finance the MBA. So Luz, can you tell us more about yourself?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Luz Figueroa. I'm 27 years old. I basically have worked in retail, doing different kind of projects to improve efficiency and reduce costs. I've worked 5 years in retail. Well, I started my application process first taking the GMAT and then the TOEFL and everything, and it took me like a year to do it. And I applied only to INSEAD. And I got
Because what happened with Luz? She told me HEC. Remember, we had a sort of argument together, and I said, "But look, it doesn't make sense. You're a bright girl. 680, they will take you, and then you have decided to apply to INSEAD only. You will start this January or in September? I forgot. This January. You
this January, yes.
Yeah. So in
this
2
January.
weeks, you'll be in France in 2 weeks. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, Luz. Usually, the average GMAT score at INSEAD is about 720. Okay, so you're 40 points below, which is, of course, 680. It's already an excellent score. So according to you,
I have 710.
710. So you took it a second time then? No? No. Okay. So according to you, sorry. So I thought it was 680. So according to you, why did they take you?
Well, I think I don't know. I actually have no idea. I think I have a good GMAT score. I know that it's bad to say, but being a woman also gives you advantages, and I think they seen, I don't know, this potential. I have no idea.
Yeah. So probably they took you because you have a good, of course, good credential, good GMAT, good academic credentials, good GMAT, great international exposure because you studied in Sweden as well. Am I right? Also, you work in an FMCG, so which is a sector that is a bit underrepresented in the MBA world. And of course, you're a woman and you come from Peru. And of course, INSEAD is the business school for the world, so they want people like you. You remember Luz, Mariano?
Yes, of course. Yes, I remember all my students.
Yeah.
All the students at GMAT Youth. Luz, a quick question. How about your leadership roles? Have you been involved in extracurricular activities in addition to your work and your studies?
Well, before the pandemic, yes, I've been doing in organization, in a non-profitable organization, and well, now I lead a team, a small team in my previous work because I already resigned. So yeah, I managed a team for almost 2 years.
How about your stories in your essays? What did you sell? What were your main highlights? What did you present to the university?
Well, I think I present that I am determined. Like I really wanted. I'm sure that I want an MBA. I wasn't like, maybe this is the path for me. No, I'm sure that that's my path. So yeah, I think that also that because I think everybody that is applying to INSEAD has like this incredible international exposure and maybe even better than me. But I don't know. I'm really determined and I have a kind of rough past. So yeah, it's also helped me to improve my profile and everything.
So overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something important as well. It's a very interesting topic I see in a lot of essays, but how you word it, how you sell it is important. So you have some experience volunteering, you have overcome adversities, you are determined, you know what you want, and you convince them that the MBA was for you and it was for you now at this moment. So those are important reasons why they would take you, for example. And these are simple things that at the beginning you said, I don't know. And it's true, most students don't know why they're accepted really. Because we need to get into the thought process of the admissions committee. And the admissions committee is so diverse. Okay, it's not one person who makes a decision. It's a whole team, and they look for many things. Among them, things we just mentioned: determination, overcoming adversities, leadership roles, ability to succeed in the program. You should demonstrate with a GMAT score and your grades as well, and also your goals must be. This is important. Your goals have to be compatible with the goals of the school, and you need to demonstrate that you will leave an important mark in the world. So they look for your potential to do that as well.
I agree with you, Mariano. It's they want profile, they want a good profile, a good application, because a good profile is not enough. So yes, the reason why Luz got in is because she had a 710. Let's put it that way. With a 550, she will not be with us today. So she built a strong application. At the same time, our projects are in line with what INSEAD can offer. For instance, if you apply to INSEAD and you say I want to become an investment banker, it's probably not the right program, and the MBA is probably not the best program to do so. By the way, I've noticed that all your students today score high, because Daniela got 740, Diego 720, and Luz 710. So you can say what you want. You see that that's what is required. And even though we say that European programs usually select with slightly less, 710 is of course already a very good score. You agree, Mariano?
Yeah, most students who are taking the exam, the real exam, well, especially in this year, 2021, they've done really well. I also wanted to highlight something that Diego said that is essential. Your past has to somehow agree with your present and your future. Your past story has to make sense with whatever you want to achieve in the future. Okay, so for example, most of the students I know who have been accepted, they have a background that supports their future aspirations. Okay, and knowing how to sell that story, knowing how to connect everything you've done with what you're doing now and your goals, that's, I think, a skill that very few people have. Okay, knowing how to merge your past, present, and future and create a nice story that makes sense, that is logical, it is a challenge. You really need to put a lot of work into that. Okay.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, story. I call that, by the way, the 50-50. So the story has to be, of course, consistent with what you want to do. At the same time, the MBA, they want also to see a quantitative and qualitative leap from between now and the future. Luz, when I left you last time we spoke, we were mentioning you were in contact with Prodigy Finance, several companies, Alumni, probably, I don't know who you were talking to. So how did you manage to finance the program finally?
Well, I I got a little bit of a scholarship in INSEAD, and the rest of it is through Prodigy, because it was like the best option for me. Being a Peruvian in Europe, it's hard to get a loan from a French bank or French bank or another European bank. So yeah.
So can you tell us how it works with Prodigy? Because people are not familiar. They believe it's a bank. Well, it's a scholar. It's more like a sponsorship. So what is the process to get a Prodigy Finance a scholarship funding, Luz?
Well, it's actually pretty simple, because it's a company. It's not like a bank. They ask you for different documents, like your acceptance letter, I don't know, your bank accounts and everything, and they, according to that, they assess and say, okay, I can give you this amount of money with this interest rate, and it's like you don't have to wait like a month or two. They just answer you right away, and then you can decide if you want to continue with that amount and with that interest rate. And if you do, so just accept, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna give you. And then a month before the start of the program, they send you the contract and everything. So for me, it was really, I think it's really easy compared to the process on a bank where you have to, I don't know, it's more complicated.
Yeah.
But it was really straightforward.
But the rate
Oh, yeah,
is much higher. Huh? You agree, Luz? The rate is much higher than in the bank. You get
Well,
what,
I
6-7%?
Well, I think it depends on each person. I couldn't find a loan of that amount of money here in Peru with a better interest rate because the amount is high. So there was no way to compare. So
Okay. Yeah, but you
but
need, of course,
it depends on each one.
yeah.
Well,
If you get
the rates were very high. I mean, it's
high
extremely high.
in your country, yeah. Yeah, it
Very
comes from.
high.
But in Europe, you can get a loan for 1.5% interest rate in Europe.
You know, I
So of
even
course,
learned that
but you have to be European. Yeah, sorry.
you even had negative rates in Spain. When I visited Spain in 2020, before the pandemic, I was surprised to learn that well, my uncle who lives in Malaga, he works for a bank, and they were offering negative rates, so they were paying you to give you money.
Yeah, but it's very rare. But yes, you can imagine. So yeah. But that is rare. But it's true that that it can happen. So now we need to. I want to welcome Daniela. So Daniela, she got also a scholarship, pretty high. Daniela, are you with us? If you
Hi,
can,
yes.
So Daniela, so because you know it's another webinar. So can you introduce yourself to the others and explain your performance? So she's younger than you, and she got accepted to an MIS. Daniela, go ahead.
Hi, yes. So I'm 23 years old. I studied economics, and now I work at the Central Bank of Peru in an asset management position. And I want to pursue a career outside, an international career. And for that, I thought that a master's was the best option. So I applied to different masters in finance in Europe and in the UK. And I got accepted to the Master in Financial Analysis at LBS, the Master in International Finance at HEC, and the Master in Finance at INSEAD. And now I've decided for the LBS MFA, and well, I think that's it.
Yeah. So you see, Mariano, you're going to be mad at us, but I make them come to Europe. Huh? You see, Daniela, London Business School, Diego, we're still hesitating between Chicago and Barcelona. But you will understand that you cannot compare that. Life in Barcelona is outstanding. Huh? The quality of life, I'm sure that you all know. And Luz in Fontainebleau. So you see, we are bringing them back to Europe. By the way, you all have European origins. Your roots are all European, and probably it will be much easier for you to work, live, and study in European environment, because I think that South Americans and European are pretty close culturally. Okay, we are.
Something that Diego mentioned is important. I think there are more job offers in the US and higher salaries. So for some people, their priorities are different. For example, they want to just make more money and pay their loans, or so in that case, the US may be better. Go ahead, Diego.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point, but I wanted to make a clarification on that point. I mean, it's true that the salary is higher on the US, but also the cost to live there is way higher, as well as the cost of the MBA. So when you weigh both measures, it's quite similar, you know.
Yeah, because you have to see, Mariano, that
it depends on the cities as well, on which city or town you're located. Yeah,
I agree.
But life, for instance, in Madrid is not very expensive. Life in Spain is not super expensive. Like in France is, and if you want to make good money, you live in Switzerland. Huh? You live in Switzerland, you make more money than in the US. Quality of life 1,000 times better. Me, when I'm in Switzerland, I don't lock my door. I don't lock my door in Geneva. I don't lock my door. You understand? You understand what it is to be in a country where you see the lake, you can drink the water of the lake, you don't close your door. Okay? Last time I was in America, I have hotels in America. I was talking to the guy, I say, what is this helicopter doing every day in front of us? They say, they're looking for murderers, okay, in Columbus, Ohio, okay? They're looking for murderers. So you have an helicopter all day long running after people because they have killed people, and they are all the time, okay? So do you want to live in this country, okay? Me, when I'm in Geneva, I go from home, I walk, and I'm at the office. In America, it's very difficult. I need to have a car. So really, in terms of quality of life, you cannot compare, Mariano. You cannot compare.
That's true.
Of course, if you're looking for the only thing, if you want to compare, of course, if you want to work in the IT environment, okay, the Silicon Valley, you cannot beat the Silicon Valley. If you want to work like Daniela in asset management, you cannot beat Wall Street, okay? If you want to work in the movie industry, you cannot beat Hollywood. Yeah, of course. If you want to work in these three fields, probably. But if you want to have if you want to be a consultant, whatever, Europe is not bad, and you have to. Yeah. You see, life is not the same, and the relationship that you have with European is not the same than with Americans.
I faced a similar issue. Some
With
of
your
you may
PhD,
know, but
with your PhD,
I was accepted to, well, first Cambridge but it was for a master's in biotechnology. Then Johns Hopkins, which is in the United States, and I also applied to Germany, and I think I'm gonna be accepted at Max Planck's Institute. So I have these three options, and choosing among them. Okay, so you have one in the UK, one in Germany, one in the United States, at Washington, actually in DC, and it's very difficult because you need to consider the cost of living, also how much you're going to invest, then job opportunities. In my case, I want to create a new company, a biotechnology company with some friends, and in addition, you need to consider the quality of life, and also if you are planning on having children, think about where you're going to take them to school, etc. I mean, it's a complicated decision.
Yeah, it's true. And because the public educational system in America, good luck. You see, for instance, in Belgium, we have European schools. You have to speak 5 languages to go to these European schools. They teach you 5 languages. Okay, the level is excellent. Okay, much higher than any private high school in America. Much higher. Okay, it's free. Okay, in America, a school like that could cost $10,000, and it would not even be the level of what you have. It's a public university sponsored by the European Commission. You have to speak 5 languages. Okay. By the way, a lot of my students who go there in this European high school, you see Daniela, then they will study with you at LBS. So you have to understand that yes, it depends a lot. In your case, of course, Mariano, you want to create a company in the microbiology sector, and you want to raise money, you will probably raise more money in the US, of course. So in your case, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, but for the rest, it's a different story, and it's true that you can raise much more money in the US than you could raise in Europe. Yeah. Is Luz still with us? She's still with us. So basically, or maybe Luz, what have you done to become more familiar with INSEAD? So if you can explain to the students how it works, basically once you get accepted, what goes on after with the school? Are they passive, or they try to entertain you, they try to involve you already in the school? If you can tell us about this.
Well, for me, that was kind of a surprise because we have in INSEAD the semester called P0, that is before we start in January, that we have to do some assignments and in the leadership program and also in the career program and all of that. That's for the university, and also the alumni, the students are like trying to connect before starting the course. So I got accepted. I decided in July, and I started meeting people from August, and we started even practicing French together because we need the third languages, and then we started the P0. So I think I guess I thought everything was going to start in January, But no, it started back then, informal with my many friends and formal with the university. So that's something to keep in mind. No? That for me, that was a surprise.
Yeah, because what happens is that they know that you have been accepted in other schools. Of course, you don't live in Fontainebleau, but if you live in France, even though there's a thing, you'll have had already like what they call integration weekend. So we'll have like 1 weekend or 1 or 2, 3 days at Fontainebleau to know the school, to get entertained by the school. Okay, so you have of course P0, so which is like a pre-MBA class, and also many other things. Okay, but as I told you, if you were based in Europe, you'll have already spent 2-3 days in Fontainebleau to get to know. They would have invited you for events there, you know, school visit, classes, master class, school visit, meeting with alumni, and so on and so forth. Diego, what have you done today? We hesitate between 2 schools. What have you done to become more familiar now that you have been accepted? Have you what have you done? Yeah, have you visited the school online or talk to people? What did you do?
That's a very, very good question. Actually, I think it's important to get familiar with the schools even before applying. Also, matter of fact, I have just been accepted a couple of days ago. But as mentioned last year, I was accepted to Kellogg, and I spent like 3 months meeting people via online meetings, of course, because of the pandemic. I also have a lot of friends who studied there. Also, I had the opportunity to visit the US in 2019, and I decided to visit Kellogg's campus, which is, in my opinion, is very, very beautiful. And with respect to IESE, I have several peers at my company at BCP who work there, a former boss as well. I have several friends who are currently studying also, and of course, I speak to them. And it's very, very useful because that helps you to be in touch with the school's culture, and that's another very important issue. Sometimes it is undervalued, but I think it shouldn't be. For instance, I don't know, Kellogg is known to be a collaborative school. To me, well, in my opinion, of course, I think it could be something. And in IESE is close to the University of Navarra, and University of Navarra is very close to some religious institutions, and that is important for me also. I don't know, that those are issues that I am taking into consideration.
Anyway, you know, 2 weeks ago, I interviewed the director of admission from IESE, so yes, and I know Kellogg also quite well. So of course, these 2 places are great places to study. But you'll be amazed by the IESE learning environment for sure. So of course, that is really a pity that you cannot all of you visit the schools. It will bring a lot. Of course, I understand there are issues with visa. It's also quite expensive. It's a big advantage that we in Europe. Okay, when we apply to school, is that we can easily visit. You know, as you know, I live in Belgium. Of course, you take the train after 2 hours. You're in London. You take the train after 3 hours. You're in Fontainebleau. So it's very easy to. You take the plane to go to Barcelona. It takes 1 hour and a half. So of course. It's easy. So for you, you have to get an idea of the school. So basically, the best thing to do would be to talk to people from Peru, okay, and ask them what they think. I think that Mariano is also a good advisor because he knows about all these schools. He has so many students who have been accepted, so he could tell you. You agree, Mariano? Which one could be better than the other, etc. Okay.
Yes.
So
it's a difficult decision, yeah, because you really have to know what you want, and most people don't know what they want.
Yeah. So tell me, Mariano, how do Peruvians do when they get selected to a program, provided that it's difficult for them to travel? How do they pick up information?
Okay. The first thing I do is I send them contacts. I send them the information of former students or current students of those universities. And I put them in contact so that the person who wants to know more information has different sources from different years. I like to do that. I like to connect them with people who graduated 2 years ago, 1 year ago, or people who are studying at the moment. And then I also have, I'm friends with some of the admissions officers they have contacted me, and they always thank me because they say that I send them good students. So they reach out to me and they say, hey, if any of your students has a question, just give them my number or my WhatsApp number and we can arrange a meeting. So that's also something I do. And finally, I also give them information from what I've learned about the programs, and I visited some of those, and I just tell them everything I know. And I always encourage them to travel if possible, just to see it for themselves. That's the best thing you could do, but it's an ideal world, especially now during COVID. It's sometimes more challenging to travel.
It's already so difficult to gather the money for that if you had to add to that, yeah. So usually, unfortunately, most people finally rely on rankings or on scholarships, okay, which is a way to do. Anyway, all these schools are very good. Huh? When you mentioned Daniela, whether she goes to ESSEC, HEC, or LBS, it's the same, okay? So they're all good, okay? And she chose one of the three, okay? Daniela, what piece of advice? You have been accepted to all the schools that you have applied to, huh? So to HEC, ESSEC, LBS, you're 100% success, lose, by the way. So what piece of advice would you give in 1 minute to applicants from Peru?
I would say to keep yourself motivated and work hard for it, because the process is long and sometimes it's hard. For me, it was a real emotional roller coaster, and I had to find ways to keep myself motivated, to keep studying for the GMAT, because the GMAT is also it's one thing in itself. It's really hard, and it's not the end, because then comes the essays, and then comes the TOEFL and the interviews, and you have to keep working and keep going until you just see the end of it, because I think it's worth it. Because when I received my acceptance emails, I was so happy, and I just felt that everything I did was worth it, that all the hours I put in for the GMAT, all the late nights for the essays, everything is worth it in the end. So just keep yourself motivated and keep working on it.
Yes, you agree? So it's a very good piece of advice. And in the case of Daniela, don't hesitate to retake the GMAT, even though, because Daniela, she got a 700, then she retook it to get a 740. That, of course, added the chance. If you have a 780, it's even better, okay? Diego, so it has been a long journey. You have not been accepted to all the schools where you have applied to, but you got accepted to top 10 in the US, top 5 in Europe, even top 3 in Europe, top 10 in the US. What would you advise students to do to be a successful applicant?
No, I think what I mentioned at the beginning, from what I've learned on these 2 years of applications, you must know your story, you must know what you want and how you want to impact the world, and that's what the business schools love the most, you know. And if that makes sense with your background, those are the winning essays, you know. On my first applications, I did them quite fast, you know. I didn't put so much effort. I learned from that mistake, and then I put the extra effort on Kellogg and IESE, and I think it was a wise decision. And I tried to, you know, show them how I want to impact the world. And I think that's the most important thing to take in consideration, besides the leadership experience, the scores, and so on. That would be my advice.
Okay, and also you have to find a school that fits well and something that you believe you can afford. Huh? Especially coming from Peru, with the money declining, you have to say, I have to find something that I can afford. And we don't. I had students, for instance, from Colombia, who got accepted to ESCP, LBS, and who finally accepted IM Lyon, the school in Lyon, because it was simply too expensive for them. So they wanted to leave the country, for sure, Colombia. They wanted a better life in Europe, and at the same time, they took what they could afford. So that's something. Also consider what you believe you can afford. Luz, the best pieces of advice that you like to give to applicants, what would you suggest?
I think to be honest to what you really want and also what you can afford. That's an important factor. And once you decide what you want, just go for it. It's a long journey, but it's what it takes.
No, it's a pity that Itika is not with us today. Okay, so maybe I would like to introduce you so you have to know that you have 100 people who work for MBA Center and 200 next year because we are developing a big company in India. So Carlo, can you join us because it's you're the man behind that. At the same time, they all know you. They will be in contact with you, and without you, it will be impossible. It's a pity that Itika is not with us because they run the show in reality. Okay, so Carlo, you have been with us for 10 months. So what has been your experience working with? It was completely new when you joined us. So what has been you live in Peru yourself? What has been your experience working with these people, with our students?
Oh, yeah. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Carlo. I'm based here in Lima, Peru. Well, basically, since I'm starting working in MBA Center, I learn a lot because you interact with a lot of people, with a lot of students. So you learn a lot. And has been grateful also because it's an international company where you can speak with people from different language. So yeah, I learn a lot, and I think it's a company that is going to help a lot of students accomplish their goals.
Yes. So basically, I would say that I would like Itika to join. So with I think with Mariano and myself, we talk weekly. Mariano, I'm always happy to brag, say she got accepted, but of course they will not be accepted if Mariano were not there. Okay, so don't take it bad sometime when I brag, because simply I like to tease. French like to tease. You have to know, if you come to Luz, if you come to Fontainebleau, you have to see French like to tease people. It's we like second degree humor, etc. Especially Parisians. So basically, that's something that you have to see. And of course, I wanted to say that it has been a great experience for me to work with you. I wrote a post, by the way, today. It means that I learned a lot. So of course, you're bright people, Luz, Diego, and Daniela. So basically, the way what we have done is very close to what I do with my UK, with my German, with my French student, because you have very good GMAT, you target top schools. We know the school that you're applying to. You saw, Daniela, when you were in class, you were with Belgian students, okay? We know LBS, HEC, imagine. My son went to ESCP, whatever. I know I taught at many of the schools where you are going to stay to study. So that's it's not unknown to me. But of course, so basically, I learned also a lot working with you. It's a pity that Tika is not with us. In that, I've learned also about schools where European students do not apply, like Cornell, like Duke, like I don't know, Penn State, Rochester, etc. So it was a great experience. I've learned a lot also about the EA, how the EA can substitute to the GMAT. It was also a great experience. So it has made me a better teacher. So thank you very much. It's a great experience, and I found out I knew because I visited your country. I launched the World MBA Tour in '98, so I visited your country 23 years ago. So I know that we are culturally very, very close, even though it's a bit different sometimes. And it's a great experience. So finally, okay. Basically, I'm not really the person behind that. The real person behind that are Mariano, who trains the students and who does a great job, and Itika, okay, who is from India, and Itika is based in Mumbai. So can you imagine, for her, it's already 22, but she works very hard. It's just the middle of the day for her. So Itika, can you introduce yourself as well? Okay, Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. It's so nice to see you all. Just let me just start by giving you all a brief introduction about myself. My name is Deepika. I work at MBA Center as a global admissions recruiter. I have a business major in finance, and before this I used to work at a hedge fund. Currently, I manage the Latin American region, the EMEA region, and the Asia Pacific region combined. So it's very nice to see all of you in person. And yeah, that's a bit about me.
Okay, so she's an overachiever, typically the type of person that Harvard would like to have, Itika, one day. And I consider Itika being part of my family. So we are here because of you, Mariano. So how would you like to end up today's meeting? Hello? Mariano, you're on mute. Mariano, you're on
Yes,
mute.
sorry. Yes, I want to thank you all for this opportunity, for this meeting, which will be very valuable for many students, not only the ones who are participating, but we're making a video here. And I know the information you have provided will help many other students in the future. So thank you for your words, for your advice, and for giving us your time, which is the most precious thing we have in the world. Thanks again.
It's true that Daniela, Diego, Luz, the success your success will convince other people to try and succeed. You don't forget that you're a model. Okay, that's why I stay in contact with students, and also it's why I always say I keep their LinkedIn profile and say, look, this person, what he has done, and then people they gain confidence. Okay, and it's very important that people understand that it's not unreachable. Okay, getting 700, if you work hard, you can get 700. 740, more difficult. 780, probably more difficult, but it's just a problem of rigor, determination. Okay, today, look, Luz, she told me with reason when she started. I don't know why they took me, and it's true, but they took you because you're good. There are other people who are good, okay, but they didn't take their chance, okay, and you're going to put yourself a huge financial burden, okay, probably over 100,000 euros, but don't worry, after 2-3 years, you will be paid back, okay, and you're going to have an outstanding life, okay, you're going to be global, you will be able to work wherever you want in the world, okay, and you have to be an example for the others, okay. Thank you very much, Itika, for being with us.
Thank you.
Without you, Carlo, without you, we wouldn't be there. So for me, it's the first day before Christmas. It was somehow my Christmas already. So I'm because you know it's something that in Europe usually we celebrate Christmas a bit before, the 24th or the 23rd or 21st. But I know that in many other countries it starts better. So it was a way for me to have a present, a great present from Itika and Mariano. Because my work is very important. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mariano. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlo, as well.
Keep in touch.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to
Feliz
meet you all.
Navidad
Bye
a
bye.
todos. Bye. Merry Christmas.